Please, Omayemi, do this for me. I don't know where else to go or who can help me. You are the only one that can help me. Omaye, please save my marriage. Marry my husband.
Once upon a time, there lived two sisters who grew up as orphans. Although some of their father's elder brothers took care of them and provided their basic needs, they grew up as beautiful maidens in the village. The elder was called Neku, while Larry was her younger sister. They always had each other's back. They did everything together, and all the villagers envied their bond. They were inseparable. But when Neku was of age, she got married to her betrothed, and things began to change. She has been married for several years now, but has never gotten pregnant, not to talk of having a child of her own. I have not been able to get pregnant since I got married. Even though my husband doesn't really complain, neither does he listen to people's mockery. I know deep down in his heart, he desperately yearns for a child. Please, Omayemi, do this for me. I don't know where else to go or who can help me. You are the only one that can help me. Omaye, please save my marriage. Marry my husband. Neku pleaded with her younger sister Larry during one of her usual visits to her paternal home. Larry was speechless. So many thoughts began to run in her head. How can my elder sister ask me to marry her husband? Achogba, don't tell me you're serious right now. Do you know what you're asking me to do? Please, don't even go there. Besides, you know I'm already engaged and my wedding is in 3 market days. I can't do what you're asking me to do, Larry said and ran off to her hut. Neku knew that it wasn't going to be so easy to convince her younger sister to marry her husband. All she needed to do was to keep on persisting and make her sister see reasons why she should accept her proposal. Her husband, Adika, has never been in support of this idea, but Neku somehow found a way to convince him into accepting her opinion. I know what to do, Neku said to herself as she left her late parents' compound. The next day, Neku had gone to meet the members of her clan to seek their help and support to convince her sister into accepting her offer. The elders, which are her late father's elder brothers, immediately embraced her ideas as her husband Adika had made it his duty to give each of his in-laws food items and palm wine every 2 market days. Adika, a rich farmer, is known all over the village for his riches in farm produce. He got married to his betrothed Neku, but after several years of marriage, Neku could not conceive, and because of this, his parents have been asking him to get another wife or send Neku out of his house. He understood why his wife has been insisting on him getting married to her sister. He knows that she fears another woman taking over her husband and her rights, but if it were to be her sister, she will have more control and rights over her. A meeting was set up which included Larry and other elders of their clan came together. The issue was brought up as Larry was asked to consider marrying her elder sister's husband, Adika. With so much persuasion and pleas from the clan elders, they made her see reasons why she should make this sacrifice, not just for her sister, but for all the members of her clan. Seeing how everybody was pleading with her, Larry asked she would have to think about it for a while before she makes any decisions. Neku began to have a bit of hope as she knew her sister cannot turn down the request of the elders. Larry seated alone under a tree in the usual spot where she and Onuche, her suitor, meet and have their alone time together. She had already sent for Onuche. While she sat thinking about how to tell him about everything that has been going on and what decision she has decided to make, someone tickles her and she got scared and jumped up. Hey, Nunu, you scared the living hell out of me. Sit, I have something very important to tell you, Larry said. You sound too urgent. Why? What's wrong? Onuche asked with concern. Larry took a deep breath, trying to gather her thoughts. She looked into Onuche's eyes, seeking reassurance. Onuche, I don't know how to say this, but my sister, Neku, has asked me to marry her husband, Adika, to bear children for them. Onuche's face darkened with shock and disbelief. What? How can she ask such a thing? You are my fiancé. Larry, our wedding is in 3 market days. This is madness. I know, Larry replied, tears welling up in her eyes. But you don't understand the pressure I'm under. The elders, the whole clan, they are all pleading with me. They say it's for the good of the family, for our lineage. Nico is desperate and Adika is a good man. They think if I do this, it will save her marriage and our family's honor. Onuche stood up, pacing back and forth. This isn't fair to you, to us. We have our own dreams, our own future to build. How can they ask you to sacrifice everything? Larry wiped her tears and stood up as well. I know it's not fair, but in our culture, family comes first. I don't want to hurt Nico, and I don't want to be the reason our family falls apart. I need to make a decision, and I need to know where you stand. Onuche stopped pacing and faced her, his eyes filled with pain. Larry, I love you. I want to spend my life with you, not share you with another man. But if this is what you feel you must do, then I'll support you. I don't have a choice. Just know that my heart will break. Larry embraced Onuche tightly, feeling the weight of the decision pressing down on her. Thank you, Onuche. I needed to hear that. I need to think about everything, but knowing you understand means the world to me. So the next few days were filled with internal turmoil for Larry. She spent hours in deep thought, weighing her love for Onuche against her duty to her family. Finally, she made her decision and called a meeting with the elders, Nico and Adika. I have decided, Larry announced, her voice steady despite the tremor in her heart. I will marry Adika and bear children for him and my sister, but I have conditions. Everyone will be treated equally, and I expect respect and boundaries to be upheld in our home, Larry said. The elders nodded, acknowledging her terms. Neku, tears streaming down her eyes, hugged her sister tightly. Thank you, Larry. You have saved me, and you have saved our family. Adika, although conflicted, agreed to Larry's conditions. Recognizing the sacrifice she was making, the marriage took place, and soon Larry bore 2 healthy sons. However, as time passed, Larry's demeanor shifted. The power dynamics in the household changed, and Larry found herself wielding more influence than she ever anticipated. However, Nico couldn't help but notice how her husband's attention was now divided. Adika's care and affection for Larry and the children stirred a deep sense of jealousy within her. Nico had sacrificed so much, believing that bringing her sister into the marriage would secure her place and save her from being ostracized. But now, the sight of Adika doting on Larry and their sons gnawed at her heart. Her emotions got the best of her, and slowly, her behavior towards Larry began to change. It started with small, slight critical comments and cold glares. Nico would make sure Larry's tasks were doubled, giving her the most menial and exhausting chores. She started to undermine Larry in front of the children and the rest of the family, speaking harshly and making her feel unwelcome. The household, once a place of love and sacrifice, became tense and filled with conflict. Larry, who had agreed to this agreement out of love for her sister and duty to her family, found herself in a difficult situation. She was torn between her love for her family and her growing resentment towards Nico. The sacrifices she had made seemed to be forgotten as she endured the mistreatment. One evening, after a particularly harsh confrontation, Niku's jealousy reached a boiling point. She saw Adika gently tending to Larry, who had fallen ill from exhaustion. The sight drove Niku to the brink of madness. She waited until everyone was asleep and quietly entered Larry's room, where she confronted her. You have taken everything from me, Nico hissed, her eyes wild with anger. You were supposed to help me, not replace me. Larry, weak and feverish, tried to sit up.
Nico, please. I never wanted to replace you. I only wanted to help. What are you even talking about?
But Nico was beyond reason. In her rage, she grabbed a pillow and pressed it down over Larry's face. Larry struggled, her hands clawing at Nico's arms, trying to free herself. At the last moment, Adika burst into the room. Having heard the commotion, he pulled Nico away, saving Larry from suffocation. Nico, what are you doing? Adika shouted, his voice filled with shock and horror. Nico collapsed to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. I don't know. I just couldn't stand it anymore. The commotion woke the household and the village elders were quickly summoned. Nico, realizing the gravity of her actions, was overwhelmed with guilt and remorse. The elders decided that something had to be done to restore peace. The held elder spoke with a stern but compassionate tone. Nico, your jealousy is destroying the very thing you sought to save. Larry made a great sacrifice out of love for you. You must find a way to heal this rift. Adika, who had been silent, finally spoke. Nico, my wife, I love you, and I always will, but our family cannot thrive in such bitterness. Larry has given us a gift, and we must honor that. We must find a way to live in harmony. Nico, realizing the truth of their words, broke down in tears. I have let my jealousy consume me. I see now the pain I've caused. Oh my Amy, Larry, can you ever forgive me? Larry, though deeply hurt and traumatized by the ordeal, saw the sincerity in her sister's eyes. Achogba, remember you asked me to do this for you. It has never been my intention to get into this mess, but I understand you and I forgive you, Nico. But we must work together to rebuild our relationship and create a peaceful home for our children. For a while, it seemed like peace had returned to the household. Nico and Larry made efforts to mend their relationship and the family began to heal. However, deep down, Nico's jealousy never truly dissipated. She couldn't stand seeing her husband's continued affection for Larry and the attention he lavished on their children. The bitterness festered within her, turning into a dark and dangerous obsession. So one day, Nico decided she could no longer bear it. Driven by a twisted sense of desperation, she devised a plan to remove Larry from the picture once and for all. She would poison her sister, thinking that with Larry gone, everything would return to how it once was. Nico prepared a special meal, lacing Larry's portion with a deadly poison. She watched as her sister ate, waiting for the poison to take effect. As Larry began to show signs of distress, Nico felt a pang of guilt, but she steeled herself, convinced that this was the only way. Larry's condition rapidly worsened and she collapsed, gasping for breath. The household erupted into chaos as Adika and the elders rushed to her aid. Larry was taken to the village healer, but her condition was critical. As Nico watched the light drain from her sister's eyes, the full weight of her actions hit her. The enormity of what she had done crashed down on her, and she was overcome with regret and self-loathing. She had poisoned the one person who had sacrificed everything for her. Her own sister, her only sister. She quietly entered her room and fell to her knees, sobbing uncontrollably. What have I done? Larry, please forgive me. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Adika was walking into her room with the intention to console her, but unfortunately for her, he overheard her confession. Adika was filled with rage and sorrow. Nico, how could you? Larry was your sister. She loved you more than anything. You have destroyed everything. No, I won't forgive you this time. Never. The village elders must hear this. You must be punished for your sins. The issue was reported to the village elders. The village elders, upon learning of Neku's treachery, decided that she must face the consequences of her actions. They convened a council to determine her fate. Neku was stripped of her rights and banished from the village, condemned to live in isolation as a reminder of the grave sin she had committed. On hearing her punishment, Neku fainted. She was later attended to by the healer, who confirmed that she was 2 weeks pregnant, but had a miscarriage due to the trauma and shock she had experienced. Neku woke up devastated and full of regret. If only she was a little more patient, she would have been rejoicing by now. Larry, though gravely ill, miraculously survived the poisoning thanks to the healer's skills. However, she was left weak and forever scarred by the betrayer. The poison destroyed her womb as she could never give birth again. Adika and the children cared for her, and over time, she regained some of her strength. The family, though deeply wounded, found a new sense of unity and resilience in the face of their shared ordeal. Neku, exiled and alone, spent the rest of her days in penance, haunted by the memories of her actions and the love she had destroyed. She realized too late that jealousy and bitterness had led her to lose everything she once held dear. In her solitude, she could only hope that one day the spirits of her ancestors and her sister might find it in their hearts to forgive her. This story highlights the crucial impact of our decisions and the resulting consequences they bring. It reminds us to carefully consider our choices, ensuring they align with our values and long-term goals. Rushing into decisions out of eagerness or desperation can lead to detrimental outcomes, potentially jeopardizing our future. Instead, we are encouraged to exercise patience and trust in God's timing, knowing that His plans are always for our ultimate good. By making mindful decisions and embracing patience, we can navigate life's challenges with wisdom and avoid certain situations. Thank you for reflecting on this story. And remember to subscribe and like our channel for more insightful content. Share your thoughts in the comment section. And until next time, have a wonderful day. Bye.